all about child labor. Now, you probably followed the news, and then we had a man, in fact, two of them, who went around, gathering some stories. Some of the stories you probably heard before. Last year, I think, if not the year before, we actually had a similar conversation. Now, this is my big question, because I just have one, and I really want a lot of you to listen and then concentrate your effort on this question. Listen to this, please. Now, should the parents of children, right, be blamed when their children are engaged in economic activities? You see, recently it was the commemoration of the International Day Against Child Labor, and then a 13-year-old boy who sells onions at the Rumokoro market in Port Harcourt narrated how he was forced into child labor by his aunt. Now, he says his aunt compelled him to sell at the market to support the family financially, denying him access to education. He spoke to correspondent. Let's take a listen to this, please.
My father and my mother get problem. My father say make my mother and her children go village. When we travel go village, my father call us, say she no wan marry my mother again. We come house, him pursue us. Everything when dey house, no, my mother get am. He no gree me carry anything. At least some of our clothes she carry.
So, that is a very sad and frightening story for a 13-year-old to be reeling. Now, we're not here to say, okay, if it's really true or make further investigation, but the aim here is that a lot of children have similar stories, right? A lot of problems, right? And the problems get to be pushed onto the children. I have heard, and I remember working late at night, I've heard, of parents who told the children, hey, if you don't go work, we don't go chop, all right? The father is able-bodied. It's not like the father has, lost use of his limbs. Neither did the mother. But in a bit, as well, shore up revenue or shore up income, the child or children have had to either sell my or whatever. I remember we had conversations. People said, yes, you build character. Nobody should prevent the children. If they don't go out, what would they do? But is it at the expense of education? That's where the question is. Because when you see children on the streets, people go blame the parents. But what if the parents, they themselves, are victims of circumstances? What if the father is a victim of a job loss? What if the mother is a victim of a failed business proposal? What if the mother, due to circumstances obviously beyond her control, is unable to meet the demands of just one child? And I mean just one child. To put this in perspective, ladies and gentlemen, for the past week or two, I've been around Port Harcourt, and I have been seeing children who are under a year who have not hit milestones. What are those milestones? You would expect that a child of 8 months should be able to sit up and crawl. Some of them haven't. And then I get to see children who are 13 years old. We expect a child who's 13 to have a certain height, certain build. They don't. But what these children are doing will shock you. Some of you will struggle to carry a 20-liter jerry can. But ladies and gentlemen, I have seen children carry 25-liter jerry cans of water. And no, they're not taking it home because their fathers or their mothers need to bathe. They're fetching water for adults like you. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to your conversation station.
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeriainfo FM. Nigeriainfo, let's talk.
And now, hello Port Harcourt with Jude on 92.3 Nigeriainfo.
So, should the children, or rather, should the parents of these children be blamed for their sons and their daughters getting on the streets, hawking, getting into trades that they ought not to be getting into at an early age? Should their parents be held responsible? Or is this, like we like to say in this country, government's failure? Yes, now government cause some. I'm very sure we'll probably hear a mixture of those. But as always, turn down the volume of your radio set. Refrain from making derogatory or defamatory comments, and please keep your conversations civil. Let's get to the phone lines first, as Zion is on the line. Zion, good morning to you, please.
morning.
Good morning.
I know the child labor thing definition, we have defined it in all manner, considering both social, economic, and religious aspects. But I want to be candid to you, sir. All those definitions are all skewed. Child labor is child labor. As long as that child is not to 18 years, you ask him to go and carry out any activity that is not in tandem with his psyche, his mode of reasoning, comprehension, and adaptation, that is child labor. If you say, who should we blame? I don't want to look at the blaming aspect of it. Because all of us are guilty.
All of us, you say?
All of us, including me and you, we are guilty. Not just the parents, not just the government. We all are guilty. Sometimes I wonder, what kind of education do we acquire in school? That we cannot solve our problems. We cannot look at nitty-gritty issues and solve them. In other nations, people are get paid for solving a problem. But come to Nigeria, people are paid for doing nothing. Sir, if we have gotten a true capacity of people who are educated, our government should be liable enough to provide every amenity the children need. I am a proponent of free education in all levels because I have done studies, I've written articles, I've confronted and engaged in conversation that free education is possible. What are we doing with our education? Sir, look at the billions of money we want to spend in buying 2 private jets for a president and his vice president. That money alone can give from the south to the southeast student free education across board this country. And look at the kind of people we have in our ends of affairs. Everybody sending their children abroad. Even grade level 15 in the civil service sending their children abroad. Can you see the wickedness we have, kind of people we have in this country?
All right, so it's not the parents, Zion, it's everybody.
All of us.
Muriel is in Africa. Muriel, do you share the same sentiments with the first caller? Good morning to you, please.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Well, Jude, this is my opinion on the matter. And I think not just parents, the government is to blame. Especially the parents. Please. Every parent is responsible for their children. You don't work for government, honestly. You know, governments all over the world, in most countries, there's some countries that are doing very well. Just give birth to your children and government take over. But you see that in your own country, it's not like that. So please, give birth to the number of children you can take care of. And if you were ignorant before you knew about this fact, then as many as you do that, you have to cater for them. You have to feed your children. As long as you can know, how that will be a bit better challenge, challenge. Even a physically challenged person can take care of their child.
Okay.
Put your blind. Even those that are blind, just with you. As much as they can talk about. I've seen on social media. Even those that are blind, visually impaired. Let me use the word. Sorry.
Okay. Mary, let's go on a break, please. Thank you. 90.3 Nigeriainfo. Welcome back. Greetings to you this final week of the month of June. And we're asking you to take a close look at your surrounding and yourself as we ask, should parents be held liable? Should they be deemed responsible if their children get to start to work early? That is, if they are responsible for their children being engaged in labor, particularly underage children, if they become if they get into economic activities. Now, some of a point that it's not exactly so. It shouldn't be. Take, for example, a carpenter who has 2 or 3 sons may decide to let his sons work with him, teach them the trade as early as 8 or even 10. I have seen farmers get their children into farming as early as 5. The little ones help them gather the eggs. The little ones, help them, clear the compound. They know how to put in the stems, the cassava stems into the ground. They know how to till the soil much, much better than some of you who are, quote unquote, agricultural specialists in the cities. These children have years of experience, and some of you would only envy, not even dream of. So, if a child is in that space, it's an economic space. The child is helping mommy and daddy to work on the farm. Maybe he's going to school. I think the bone of contention here is, okay, if that child is doing this and not going to school, it becomes a problem. But what about those, and this happens a lot in Africa, who are helping? That's where there's a problem. 08179230003, 08179230003. Robin is on the line from a chair. Let's get to say hello to Robin, and after that we say hello to Ola. Robin, good morning to you, please.
Good morning, my brother Jude.
Welcome.
Jude, you asked a question whether the parents are to be blamed. Have you seen, watched, read anyone who goes to a worship center asking his or her God to be poor?
Okay.
Have you read any book? Have you watched any movie?
Okay.
That I want to be poor. God who created the heaven and earth, please let me be poor.
Okay.
Nobody does that. What we are talking here is between the poor and the culture of Africa. You see, our mentality is being shifted from the way we were wired as Africans. A child is a blessing to a parent. Like as you lastly said, some of us grew up in such environment. Even if my late dad was a teacher, we are schooled in all ramifications of life. Domestic chores, is it a famine, and what have you? The children that we are saying today, they should not assist their parents. How viable is their parents financially? Does the government care about them? Does the society care about them? Have you gone to communities where you see mansions and you see people around that mansion live in penury? Thatch houses, mud houses? The size of pots in my house and the size of pots you have in your house is not the same thing.
True.
So in spite of any convention Nigerian state have entered into, that child labor or no child labor. What is child labor? In the 18th century and early 19th century, those who are rich are who? They are farmers who have brain of yams. They are rich. They have plenty wives, plenty children. To create economic advantage to his household. But however, we must tread with caution the way we treat other children. What I will wish my child to do, I will also wish another child to do. Good morning, Robin Majari Farmer.
Ola is on the line. Ola is speaking to us from LMA. Ola, how's LMA this morning?
LMA is calm and peaceful. We are going about our daily activities without intimidation, without stress.
Good. What about the traffic situation in that area? What part of LMA are you in right now?
Okay, I just left the refinery junction.
Okay.
And it's flowing, but
Good.
I can't speak for petrochemical and
Akpajo area.
I'm not into that direction this morning.
Okay, talk to us.
From what I see outside here, that place is also flowing. Because it's not flowing, there will be traffic, a lot of people at the bus stop waiting for vehicles. That's one of the signals we get.
Okay, so talk to us, Ola. Do we blame parents?
There are two ways I want to look at it. One, the motive of the parents or the guardians when sending this child to the field. Now, if the motive is to punish the child, then we can call it child labor.
Punish?
Now, for example, I've seen a family where they were punishing this lady. They thought they were doing her bad by sending her to go and stay in the restaurant and wash plates and do things and so on like that in the restaurant, while their own children were going to school. As I speak to you now, their children have graduated, no job, no handwork. But that same lady they thought they are doing bad has a restaurant where she's surviving and feeding her family. So you see the difference now. So what I want to focus on is the motive of the parents. I have money. I can train my child, but I think because I'm a woman, she should not go to school. For that reason, she should go to farm. That can be considered as a child labor.
But okay, what about those? What about those who don't have the financial wherewithal to send their children to schools, to good schools?
Now, if a family cannot afford whether local school or good school at all, there are families like that are even struggling to eat. Now, if they engage the child in the field to help the family or to help not even the family, to help the child himself, because whatever the child is doing out there, the child is learning for himself. So that's the way I see it. I do not see it like child labor because this one, that the poor among the poor, they must survive anyhow. So they do everything to survive. But it would be wrong if the father is healthy and the father is not doing anything. He just sit down and waiting for the child to go and bring and come. That's another problem.
Okay, well, what if the father is healthy, but the money that the father is making from whatever enterprise he's involved in is not enough?
There's an attribute of the fact that he is going out there to support, but nothing good is coming from it. So all hands on decks must put something good on the table. So I can't blame him for that one. I see.
All right, Ola, thank you very much. Do drive safely and have yourself a wonderful day. WhatsApp now is 0809-030-6416. 0809-030-6416. That's why you find us on WhatsApp and on Telegram. Good morning, Mr. Jude. In my opinion, the parents are not to be blamed because the present economic reality of the country. All will need to contribute to the upkeep of the family. Although I don't support children being out of school during school hours, but I am a product of hawking while I was much younger in primary school. During the late 80s up to the 90s, I hawked gari, vegetable, plantain, just to mention but a few for my mother. But I did that because the family needed to survive. Bro, so many families are going through hardship, so we don't need to blame the parents. Thank you. Joseph is on the line. Joseph is speaking to us from Ogbogoro. Joseph, good morning to you, please.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. Jude.
Good morning.
Okay. On the matter on ground, I think given the economic situation now in the country, I think it would be bad with children as their parents.
Mr. Joseph, please, can you turn off your radio set or maybe step away from the radio set, please? Could you do that for us?
Okay.
Thank you.
I have nothing.
All right, go on, please.
You know, the way with internet age now, children from age of 8 years, 9 years, they get engaged. They are sharp these days, and they are drawn to internet. So if you don't move actually to engage them on some other thing that will affect them, to make them be more useful on skills. Okay. They might be carried away. The youth we have in Nigeria today, most of the youths have gone to school, they will lack skills, basic skills to do things. So if I want to encourage parents to send their children to hawk, but if children can start early to learn skills, learn sewing, learn craft, it will be good. So waiting for 18 years is far away. Before you know it, you're in one other thing or the other. So we shouldn't just copy something from over. Even I said in Nigeria, my friend in Australia allows her daughter to be a salesperson. I mean, to a sponsor person. Okay. During holidays. So it's not as if.
How old is her child or his child?
The child is less than 18.
Less than 18.
Yes, she's around 16 years. Actually, the guy was telling me that he allows the daughter to during holidays to work, to do part-time job. So in Nigeria here, children can actually work apart from contributing to the house households, they also build skills on their own. While as a child, I supported my father to sell things on the street. Now for my children, I want to be on the street, but I'm planning for my children to learn skills even before they enter university, even before secondary school. In fact, they learn skills on their own.
Okay, all right.
So we need skills in Nigeria. We need to be able to have basic skills that they can depend on to help themselves. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much, Joseph Inogbogoro. Once again, your messages come through to 0809 030 6416 0809 030 6416. All right, please don't call that number. It's strictly for the reception, right, of messages. All right, don't call the number I just reeled out. All right, 0809 030 6416. All right, my name is Jude, and this is Hello Port Harcourt. Let's get back to the phone lines and also get onto our social media page at Facebook and X at Nigeriainfo PH at Nigeriainfo PH. Now, at Facebook, we have some comments. Favor Nyoma says, "Good morning, sir. To me, the parents are not to be blamed though, but it should be after school, depending on the age of a child. Children are not supposed to be involved, but the condition that we find ourselves in says otherwise." Says otherwise. Okay, all right. It's not peculiar to Nigeria. In fact, it's not even peculiar to Africa. Let me quickly share with you, a bit of history. If you've ever heard of the Dark Ages, in Europe, as the name implies, dark. These were really dark times. Dark times in terms of economic prosperity. It was bleak. It was dark. There were wars frequently fought. There was famine. There was disease. So the life expectancy, of the average man back then was about 35, 40. In fact, if you were to see 50, 55 in the Dark Ages, I'm talking about, between 1015 to, let's say, about 1300s, right? Particularly the first, from 1000 to about let's say 11 or 1200s. They were regarded as the dark times, particularly those first 2 centuries I made mention of. Dark times. You had the plague, the black death, and stuff like that happening. So it was not unusual. See the thing we're complaining about today, nearly 1,000+ years, a millennia after, right? It was happening back then. Children were begging the same way children are begging on the streets of Port Harcourt. They were begging in Europe. They were begging in France. They were begging in Paris. They were begging, in some of these regions, Germania, what is now known as modern day Germany. There was basically poverty everywhere. Dark times. And the children were doing the same thing that African children are doing today. So, was it the circumstances that led to that, or were the parents negligent? It seems to be history is repeating itself. Itself, rather. What do you think? So 017-923-0002, 017-923-0007, 0817923-0002, 0817923-0007. At Nigeriainfo PH, at Nigeriainfo PH is where you will find us on Facebook and on X, at Nigeriainfo PH, at Nigeriainfo PH. Good day, presenter. When we talk about child labor, I think there needs to be a very clear distinction. And like you said, if a child is being asked to join his father or his mother in whatever business they are doing, I do not think it's child labor, whether or not the child is going to school. The child is only being taught life's lesson. Will it be good that the child gets formal education? Yes. But where the father or mother cannot afford it, please, the child should be taught responsible jobs so that they don't turn out to be these children that we see on the streets today begging. Interesting. Ezekiel. Ibiso is on Audley Road. Ibiso, good morning to you, please. Welcome to the program.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning, please.
Hello,
Hello, Port Harcourt. Good morning to you.
Yes, I just came to your station and the last caller and your comment that you make about the dark days in Europe. Now, Jude, your last caller was making a statement that some students that are going to school, if I'm not mistaken, there in the Western world, at least they are even doing one or two work to support themselves. And I have somebody that I know that the daughter was schooling there, I think one of these science courses, she's doing neuroscience.
Okay.
And they are paying her almost, let me say, 2 million naira a month when she's doing her IT. When in the US, yes. Now, when you come to this place, those that are going for IT, at least any year, they will have experience there and have some things in their pockets. At least now we release the stress on their parents. I don't think it's happening here like that. And now when you talk of the dark days now, they experience things like that. Now, they learn and they put it in place.
They learn
that if you are going to school, you can make some hours to do one or two things to assist yourself. That is a learn from their past. And Jude, me as a person, have my own past. You as a person have your own past. The question here is, after passing through the dark days, what is the solution? Now, let me put COVID-19 for example. After passing through COVID-19 in Nigeria here, what is the solution that the government bring on board? That if such thing will happen again, we will not experience that hardship. But like you said about the dark days in Germany. Now you can go to Europe, Germany, that area. They have already made a plan for their children that anyhow, if you are working, if we have 24 hours for one day, you are going to school for maybe 4 hours. You can use 4 hours to do one or two things for yourself and forge on. So when the bad boys come, kids will not affect them the way you affect them that time. But here, in the opposite side, after COVID-19, the government learned anything to do to ease the stress of the people. That's the question, Jude.
But Ibiso, let me ask you, Ibiso, would you let your son or your daughter, right?
Yes.
Get into the labor market? Would you maybe allow your child to start selling bole and fish? Maybe your child is 12 years old. Would you allow your child to start selling bole and fish if your wife has a bole and fish joint? Would you let that child do bole and fish?
No, Jude. My son is 12 years. Now, Jude, you are journalism. Your son is in the house, sometimes maybe at the holiday time, listening to his father doing this broadcast. Now, any ideas, sometimes you teach your son some things, which is not more that my son will go and play ball or go and play ball with the mother. But you are teaching them how to fish. Not to sit down one place and that they want to take ice cream, you give them. You want to take a peanut, you give them. You want to go to a Domino Plaza, you give them. No, you set the board only for them because nobody is a prophet of doom. And you are not prophesying that maybe tomorrow will be worse. But anyway, let them know one or two things to do. When the dark time comes, they can manage themselves. That's what we are saying.
Okay, all right, Ibiso, thank you very much. All right, Facebook, let's get back to Facebook and read some more messages. If you check your time now, it's 11 minutes to top of the hour. We have news coming up your way by 10 o'clock. And after that, we have conversations with an interesting fellow joining us. Now, Tammy Otto says, I begin to think in this line of yours, probably education system should begin the scheme of economic benefit, whether the students or the teachers. So when you're going to school, they should be teaching you how to make money in school. Maybe that way, we won't have some of these problems. That's from Tammy Otto. Amali Secondary says that the parents should know what is good for their children. There are some work which our parents do that's not absolutely good for children. On the other hand, it's not a bad idea for a child to help his parents with whatever that brings food to the table. My conclusion is that children should help their parents with the work. It will definitely help them in life. Amadi, I don't think anybody would begrudge a child, helping the parents out. But what if that work is basically the child's contribution to like we like to say this in this day, the daily 2K or daily 3K. A child is meant to be a child. What exactly do we mean by that? The child should have experiences, should be in a safe space to be educated, should play, should let their imaginations run wild, should build their character. But if you get a child, 8, 9, who is no longer just helping the mother or the father, maybe the mother sells tomatoes, the child helps the mother carry tomatoes to the market and sits to the mother. The child now starts to actively sell the tomatoes and now starts to hawk the tomatoes around. Would you consider that child labor? Is it the parents' fault? I'll wrap this and I'm going to open the phone lines once again. About 3 weeks ago, at I think was that NTA Junction or Cornerstone Junction? I think it was NTA Junction, right? In one of those mini buses. You know the conductor MO, as the modus operandi of conductors almost anywhere in Nigeria, particularly the big cities. They come down, they shout, "Hey, artillery, my one. Hey, Iko, first bus stop, Lagos, right?" You're probably familiar with it. Oshodi, on that bridge. You're familiar with this sound. But about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think it's about 3 weeks ago, I was standing on the phone. When I heard the person's voice, I had to turn. When I turned, the person who was shouting, calling for passengers to come on this minibus could not, and I'm serious, that person could not have been more than 13 years of age. Could not be. And I thought I was the only one who observed it. The person who was beside me had just bought fuel. And the person stopped, put the jerrycan down and say, "Which kind of country be this? How this kind of small boy come they do Agbero work? See her now. See how thing they do." Like, this man was pointing, he was pointing. The boy knew that everybody was looking at him. I have to say kudos to him because he put up a very brave face. He kept on shouting, my three, where they go under here. And the boy said, "Which kind of nonsense? How this guy small but going to do this kind of work?" You know, and some people peered in and they were looking at the driver. Is it that the driver is his father? What exactly is the story behind here? I leave that picture with you. Some of you may have seen teenagers being agberos, being touts, bus conductors. We don't know what the story is there. But if that child is the son of the driver, would you say that's child labor? If that child is one of the street children hustling, maybe doesn't want to steal or pickpocket, would you say that's child labor? And he takes whatever monies he gets from that, he takes it back home to give to his brothers and sisters to eat. 017-923-0002, 0817-923-0007, 0817-923-0002, 0817-923-0007. At Nigeriainfo PH, at Nigeriainfo PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X, at Nigeriainfo PH. At Nigeriainfo PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X. All right, and let's have a conversation this morning. Ibiso sends us a message on WhatsApp. Ibiso says, "Good morning, Jude. To me, as my children are growing up, time to time I check on them. One of them is good at drawing during the holidays. I will buy him some materials and give him to improve, and even taking the person to an artist that will give him more ideas. That is not what studying in school is, but to have another thing to do." Ibiso, Ibiso, thank you very much. All right, then this one here says, "Good morning. Is it the first time you are seeing this kind of thing? Port Harcourt is full. Come to my one. There are so many boys, young boys, who have now turned to doing Agbero work." That sounds like a ticking time bomb, doesn't it? Or, maybe I'm just, maybe I don't know. Maybe am I the prophet of doom? Okay, all right. Only time will tell. My 2.3, good morning. Final caller, very quickly, please.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Christian.
Christian, very quickly, please.
Yes, I'm calling from Port Harcourt, you were very precisely. So I want to put my opinion on the topic you're talking about. Now, I just want to use myself as an example. After my secondary school, I had to go to Ikoku to help my dad out in the business, and that helped me a lot before I gained admission and studied engineering.
So you would say that's child labor?
Ikoku helped me out in my school because it gave me an insight about engineering.
Okay, all right. Break coming up.